Get up, mama. A wise person once said, it ran in my family until it ran into me. A lot of times we like to look at people and say things like, that'll never be me. We don't even realize that we have the same habits that they had. They got them in the situation that they're in. And more than likely, we're going to become that person we said we will never be. And we're going to do those things we said we will never do. Will it look the exact same? Nah. But it's going to look similar. If you want to break certain generational curses, you got to pay attention to the habits that form those generational curses. Welcome back to the Get Up Mama podcast. I am your host, Ashley, coming from the good old country. I'm the mom to our beautiful rainbow twins, homeschooling, tending to my garden, tending to my chickens, working part-time while trying not to lose myself in the middle of it all. Hey, how you doing? But before we get into the topic of the day, yeah, my leg is itching. Sorry if you're watching me. Hopefully y'all can't see me down there scratching like that. I told you I'm in the country, right? So outside it is warm. And these bugs be biting. I'm lucky it ain't that bad today. Like them gnats ain't as bad as they usually are. So for those of you who are asking, you can find me on Patreon. I have an accountability tier that I just organized. It's an accountability tier for mamas to lock in, for us to chat, and for us to just share synergies. Sometimes the hardest part about not reaching your goal is not staying consistent. And sometimes all it takes is just knowing you're not alone. So I created that accountability group, accountability tier. If you want to join, we'll get together 3 to 4 days out of the week. It's nothing more than just staying up a little later than the kids stay up and just making sure we just having a space to either be creative, to ask questions, or get done some things that we've been putting off for a long time. I feel like community and structure is what will help us grow. So if you feel like you need community and structure to help yourself grow, to help you get your behind up, come join the village. It is a new tier that I just started. But today we're going to talk about something that I feel like so many mamas struggle with, and that's feeling guilty about taking care of ourselves. And if you've ever felt guilty about getting dressed up, spending a little change on yourself here and there, about getting some rest, and just simply like just taking some time alone to yourself, then this topic is for you today. One day I was speaking to the wife of the husbands that I take care of. And the type of work I do is home health care. And it's just one particular wife this day. But I want to be honest, I heard this on numerous occasions. It was just talking about life things and how old I am and where we are in our life, right? And she said to me, she said, honey, one day I was 30. And before I knew it, I was 80 years old. She said, live your life, baby. She said, I got so consumed in motherhood, being a mama to my kids and being a wife, that I forgot to nourish myself. I forgot to do things just for me as an individual. She said, she told me I stopped going out with my girlfriends because I thought I didn't have time, because it was so much I felt like I had to do at the house. It's like I had to take care of the household, my husband, and my kids 24/7. So I felt like I didn't have enough time to go out with my girlfriends. And she said instead I should have made time, because you don't get that time back. And once it's gone, it's gone. And one day I looked up, I missed out on half of my life because I wasn't intentional about pouring into myself. I just want to say, God almighty. And remember I said things running in your family? She wasn't even my family member. That's so deep rooted within our ancestors that it traveled down, that it's still trickling down, that we feel like everything that we do has to be motherhood, right? I'm about to be 40 years old, but these last few years I told myself that I wasn't just going to show my kids the world, that I was going to start showing myself the world as well. Like life don't stop just because I became a mama. Granted, I do have to handle my responsibilities because I had them kids. I make sure they are taken care of. But I also go on them dates too. I also read those books. I also go to those meetups. And now I'm starting to join like communities of people that I align with. I used to just sit around the house and not do much. Does that sound like you? It was easy for me to do that because sometimes I can be very introverted. I can be a homebody. I enjoy being at home. Telling myself that I don't have time, that my baby's gonna miss me. I gotta do this, and there are things at the house that I need to get done. I don't need to spend that money because I need to make sure I have money saved up for this. And I'm talking about, it wasn't even a lot of money, girl. Like getting my nails done back then. I take care of everybody else. I make sure I'm serving everybody else because that's what I love to do. And I stopped enjoying my home and I stopped enjoying my space and the life that I had because I realized that I wasn't taking care of me, or I wasn't allowing myself to be taken care of. So there's this thing that I learned about the flow of life. It's a cycle. What you put out is what you're going to receive. And if I'm always putting out things to just other people, I'm going to be drained because the flow of life includes me too. Who's the most important person in the flow of life? If it's my flow of life, if it's your flow of life, who is the most important person in that flow? The person that controls it, right? And if the person that's controlling it is not being nourished, what's going to happen to that flow of life? The flow of life is the energy that we put out, by the way. Like, I can take care of all of these people. I love nourishing my people. We talk about this. I say this all the time because I need you to understand that when I talk about pouring into yourself, I don't mean that I love them people any less. I don't mean that I love my kids any less. I don't mean that I don't want to take care of my responsibilities. I just mean that I need to include me in that flow of life. Because if I include me, that flow of life has a better outcome. That flow of life has a better nourishing outcome. That flow of life will have better fruit. I'm not saying everything in life is going to be a walk in the park and you're going to always be happy, but you can learn how to create your happiness. Even if it try to disappear, you can create it. All right, so now we're going to get into our word of today, which is flow. You got to learn how to let things flow, right? I know that's a hard thing to do when you may not even understand what that means, or you're not used to doing it. You're used to trying to take control. You're used to trying to have so much control. That's what we do. The more you go with the flow will work for you. So all of that guilt you may have around like your appearance and wanting to look better and wanting to feel better, but you just feel like you can't because there are other things that has to go first. You can do that. Like wanting to feel confident and wanting to look put together, that's not a shallow thing. That's a human thing. The last time you got put together, the last time you dressed up and looked nice, how did it make you feel? It made you feel good, right? So why can't you do that every day? Like guilt around needing space. Girl, you human. You need space. We get overstimulated. We annoying. The children are annoying. The adults are annoying. You included in that too. You are annoying. Everybody energy together sometimes don't flow well. So sometimes we need our own space. And that's okay. And that should be okay. I truly believe that women were never meant to disappear in motherhood. I feel like motherhood is a part of who you are, but it's not the only part. Remember earlier I mentioned the flow of life. Every part of your life is a part of the flow. You are an individual. You have to feed that part of your life. You are a daughter to someone. You have to feed that part of your life. A sibling, a relative, a spouse, a mother. You have to feed those parts of your life. Every aspect. Learn how much to give to each area when needed. Learn how to nurture them. One day somebody asked me, how do you pour into yourself? I think that's how you pour into yourself. Learning how to nurture the parts of life that you have. Improving things that need to be improved. Balance and harmony where things need balance and harmony. Love and care where things need love and care. If you've been struggling with like trying to get over the guilt that comes with like spending time on yourself or taking care of yourself, like inside of motherhood or what you got going on, here are a few tips that will help you over that little hump of feeling guilty, because I think guilt just comes with motherhood and just life things. Tip number 1 is know what you want. A lot of times we don't even know what we want to do. We just know we want to do something, or we think we want to do something differently than what we have going on in life. You know how we always think the grass is green on the other side. But it's like, know what you want to do. Like, for an example, do you want to have more alone time? Do you want to tighten up on your appearance? Do you want to learn more things about life? Do you want to start new hobbies? Socialize more? Join different communities? Go on more dates? Like, what is it that you want? I think first you need to hone in on what you want. Because if you know what you want, you can cut down on a lot of confusion. And I think a lot of confusion can cause guilt. So we want to cut that down. Like, know what it is that you want to do. And you don't have to do all of it at once. Slow down, little mama. And then I would say, know where you are in life. In the previous episode, I mentioned to you to identify the season of life you're in. All them things you may want to do right now, you may not be able to do it. Like, there are some things that I want to do right now that I'm able to do because of my kids being so young. There are some things that I just won't do. Some places I just won't go. I'm not able to go because I may not have a sitter right now. And so instead of me moping about it, I just understand where I am and I just find something else on the list that I can work on. There's plenty of stuff you can work on to improve your life. There's plenty of things that you can do to pour into yourself. They don't have to all happen at once. So find it. Remember, you create the happiness. Tip number 3, make time for it. Find out where you can fit in some time to pour into yourself, to take care of yourself. If you want it to happen, you got to make time for it, right? Find the time. Wake up before them kids. If it's something you can do in the house, wake up before them kids do. Or go to sleep a little bit later than they do. I ain't say you got to wake up extra early. You can wake up 30 minutes before them to start on something. Remember, the smallest things can have the biggest impact. You can do it in the afternoon if you have time, too. Find the time. One day out of the month. Start small. Starting small is better than not starting at all. That's where that guilt gonna come from. And that flow of life gonna be off. No offense. I'm only telling you this because I know it. You just need just enough time just to self-regulate. That's that life you created. Figure out how to make the best of it. You done became a mama now, girl. So you gotta figure out how to make the best of it. Somebody asked me one time, how do I stay so positive? I think because I just understand. Like, I feel like I try to understand what I got going on. And I make the best of it. Tip number 4, before we close this thing up out of here. Stop trying to control everything. You're trying to control everything. I know. You think you know everything. You think you know better than other people. You think you can do things better than other people. And let me tell you something. You might be right. And then again, you might be wrong. No offense though. But what I'm saying is, you got to trust the people in your life and in your village. And if you don't, then you got to take a hard look at yourself, because that's the village and the people that you put in your space. Right? So I know it's scary. And I'm not saying with every aspect of life. I say some things that I feel like you just can't put your guard down on, right? I understand that. But sometimes you have to give people space to mess up. And then sometimes you also have to give people space to get it right. And I'm not talking about extremes. Protect your babies. Protect you. If you feel like there's any harm going to be put towards your babies or yourself, then create you a different village. But outside of that, let go of some of that control, girl. You can't control everything. That's where a lot of that guilt come from. Let it go. The flow of life. Your life going to flow a little bit better. You let it go. You had a chance to mess up. Give them people a chance to mess up too. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is going to be our weekly check-in. We're going to talk about the rule of the week, the proud moment of the week, and something that brought us joy. So for me, my rule of the week was, you would think I had this thought out before I got here. I don't know if I'm going to come back to the rule of the week. I really cannot think of a rule of the week. But we ain't just going to make one up, though. So I'm going to move on to my joy moment of the week. I feel like my kids reached a different milestone this week. So they're like 5.5 years old. They'll be 6 soon, right? But I feel like one day this week, the communication and the dialogue between us just advanced. But that was like one of my joy moments of the week. Like, oh, okay, look at y'all. And one of my proud moments for the week was me speaking up. Saying how I feel with certain people. Not being disrespectful, but just not holding back on what I feel and saying it. And being able to articulate it well with some sense of emotional intelligence. And you know I love to hear from you. So please share in the comments somewhere. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but rule means regret. That's RUE. So you tell me your rule of the week, proud moment of the week, joy moment of the week. Also, I'm going to read a few comments to show my appreciation. I'm so glad you started this podcast. It is much needed. Another comment is, I really get up on this app every day just to hear your voice. Every time I get on this app, I'm usually going through something and you know just what to say. And you speak right to my soul. You have a gift. Don't you ever stop. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all's support. Thank y'all for commenting. Thank y'all for showing love. And most importantly, thank you for pouring into yourself. Thank you for choosing to pour into yourself. Next, we're going to move to our next segment, which is the question of the week. We're going to do I'm going to try to get 2 in, but I may just get 1 in today. So the first question is from Jazz. Jazz 360 says, I've been working my job for 3 years now. I'm just going to be honest. I don't like it, and I want to try something different. I'm not sure what it is that I want to try just yet, but I know I want to try something different. Should I just quit before I find something new? Or what would you advise me to do? Jazz, what does your village look like? Will your village support you if you quit and find something new? But before we get into all of that, right? What does your life look like? Are you able to do that? Are you able to quit and then find something new? Like, what does your bank account say? What does your village say? Is your village willing to back you up if you do that? What happens if you don't find something new in the time frame that you set for yourself? Like, what do you have in place for that? Will your babies be okay? Will y'all be okay? Will you be able to have shelter? I think those are the questions you should ask yourself. And then on top of that, right? How would you feel if you started being treated differently because you can't provide financially? Because there are some people that will treat you differently because you can't provide financially, because now you feel like a burden. Like, how would you feel if that started to happen? And then would you want to be someone that doesn't earn money in a certain time frame? Be able to get the things that you need, your kids may need, and also the things that you may want. And when I say ask yourself these questions, I'm not saying money is the most important thing. I'm not saying don't trust your gut. I'm not saying don't take the chance. I'm saying just ask yourself these questions, because I think sometimes we don't prepare for the worst. I know there was a time that I didn't prepare for the worst, and I paid for it. It's not saying that the worst is going to happen. It's just saying what happens if it does. And then you're going to work your ass off so that it doesn't happen, because I had to learn that. And I want you to know that things happen in life. It don't always happen the way that you plan it, but it can. But I just want you to be prepared for if it doesn't. So you ask yourself, do you want to take that chance? Pray on it. But you have to be able to pray and listen, because you're the only person that can hear what's on the inside, what God is telling you on the inside. And you're the only person that has to experience this. But also remember that you have other people that could be affected by your decision too. And I also would say communicate it, talk it out. If you have other people in your village, talk it out. But if some of those answers don't look the way you need it to look, I would say try to find something while you're at the place of establishment you're at right now. But I hope you figure it out, Jazz. Next question is from Sharonda. Sharonda says, I have this guy that's trying to talk to me, but I'm afraid to tell him that I have a kid, because it came up in conversation before that he doesn't know if he can date a woman with kids. And I hesitated. I feel like that was supposed to be my chance to tell him that I have a kid, but I didn't. Should I wait and see if this goes somewhere, or should I go ahead and tell him? What you waiting for? What's for you is for you, baby. If he don't want to date a woman with kids, you got to respect that. You should respect that, because it's also telling you how your relationship with him may go. And then your kid is important. I've seen on several videos where women say, why do you need to care about me having kids? You ain't dating my kid, you dating me. Baby, that's a package. If you enjoyed this episode, please share. It helps the village grow, and it also teach the algorithm to push us out in front of the people who may need to see us, who can benefit from this podcast. And if you haven't already, I need you to pause for a minute and subscribe. And also, girl, come join the village. What you waiting on? Because we'd love to have you. Just